Hello everyone, my name is Holden Hardman. Thank you so much for joining me again for another video. Last week we watched X-Men Days of Future Past. Today we're doing X-Men Apocalypse. We're going through it. I remember being very hyped up about this movie because at the end credits of Days of Future Past was the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse in Egypt. I think from the X-Men animated series, I remember Apocalypse, and I remember being like basically X-Men's version of Thanos, ultimately, I think. Just incredibly powerful, and I remember really looking forward to it. And then seeing the movie, and I won't say further, but I guess I was hoping for a little more, or was expecting a little more. It's been a while since I've seen this, kind of like when I saw Days of Future Past again. I might like it more this time around. I clearly like Days of Future Past more. Pastor, what were your initial thoughts with Apocalypse without giving anything away?
Originally, when I saw the post-credit scene, I was a little confused because I'm not used to seeing Apocalypse as a young person character. But when I found out that it was about Apocalypse and they went right into it, I thought it was awesome, and that's when it built the hype up for me. Apocalypse is a very strong character. I think, Holden, you're pretty much nailed it on the head. He's the X-Men's Thanos for sure. Kill everyone, start over kind of a person. I haven't seen this movie a whole lot. This will be like probably I feel like the first time for me watching it. I do remember that it's the guy that played Poe Dameron as Apocalypse, and that's pretty much it. I remember that Psylocke was introduced. She was played by Olivia Wilde, and I was really excited about Psylocke. So I don't really know much about it. I'm gonna have a lot more to say at the end of it, and I'm sure, you know, my feelings and my memories are gonna flood from watching it the first time as we're watching it now. But I was excited for this movie. I really was.
I totally forget that Apocalypse is Oscar Isaac. I don't see him in that role at all. And I mean this in a good way. Apocalypse feels very much like his character in this. I will praise it in that way. Jenna, after having some mixed feelings about First Class and Days of Future Past, how are you feeling about going into X-Men Apocalypse?
I'm really interested to learn the true history behind how the pyramids were made.
And Matt, same question. Having some mixed feelings about First Class and Days of Future Past, how are you feeling about going into X-Men Apocalypse?
I gotta tell you, Apocalypse seems like a very uplifting title, but I go in optimistic. I say this every time, that I try to pull the positive pieces. And yes, I wasn't crazy about the Ghost of Everybody's Past, that one, but there's always, I think, some good to draw. Like, even if that Bygone Jim moment wouldn't have been in the last one, I still feel like there would have been good. Like, the minor details, they did better. So I'm always optimistic. Let's see.
Jeremy will not be with us this week. He's here right now, but he's not going to be here for this movie.
I'm going to catch you guys on the next one.
All right, let's get into it. X-Men Apocalypse.
No, this is clearly some sort of Power Ranger guy. Love that font. Thank you.
Good day.
Better now. Where's Nina?
Good, thank you.
What's happened to them? Your parents?
They were taken from me, but they're still here. Inside. With you?
Is someone going to take you away?
Never.
You can open your eyes, Scott. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's quite... My grandfather planted that tree when he was 5 years old. I think that was probably my favorite tree.
Eric?
Oh! There it is.
I saw the end of the world. Some dark power inside, and it's growing like a fire.
Your push time yet!
Dude.
Oh, my babies. Oh.
Is this what I am?
Gives you such empathy to who he is as a bad guy.
Daib.
Go, go, Power Rangers!
These guys believe that the first mutant was born tens of thousands of years ago, and they believe he will rise again. And wherever this being was, he always had 4 principal followers.
Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. He got that one from the Bible.
Or the Bible got it from him.
But since the advent of nuclear weapons, the United States does not start fights.
Weapon.
Never before.
I have returned.
Why did she bring it at all?
That's a good point.
I'm here for you.
You're not really my type.
And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!
I'm just saying, Empire is still the best.
Well, at least we can all agree the third one's always the worst.
What are those?
What are those?
Charles. Hello, old friend.
He's tapping into him.
I've never felt power like this before.
Hey! That's rad.
What happened? Where's Alex? Where's my brother?
Pretty sure I got everybody.
Fine! I want her, him, and her.
Clear!
I told you from the moment I met you, there is more to you, Eric. There is good in you too.
Whatever it is you think you saw in me, Charles, I buried it. With my family.
You know him? Magneto? He's my father.
What?
Him and my mom, they did.
No, I know. What? Are you sure?
You know, for a guy who moves as fast as me, I always seem to be too late.
There's some kind of animal in there.
It's no animal. It's a man. Taken away.
Who did Jenna say?
Logan.
Scott, wait.
Wait a minute, isn't this the scene where he runs out?
Hope that's the last we've seen of that guy.
We called ourselves the X-Men. Your brother was there. We used to call him Havoc.
Oh, he's got a brother?
Yeah, the guy that shoots beams out of his chest.
I didn't know they were related.
They said it like 6 times.
I missed it.
20 times they said that.
Missed it completely.
Not all of us can fully control our powers.
Then don't. You need to embrace them. We all do.
The magnetic field is too strong. I can't get us in there.
Hey! Hey,
Look.
dumbass!
Hey, look over here!
Get out!
We're losing him.
Now he's an angel for real.
Welcome to my world.
Oh my God, Xavier hit someone. Okay. There we go. Little low, but right on. Oh, no, it worked. It worked.
I'm gonna speed up our house. You gonna do that for everyone, Gene?
Forget everything you think you know. You're not kids anymore.
You're X-Men?
You're X-Men.
Next movie's gonna be about Wolverine. Maybe not solely, but a big focus.
All right, everyone just finished X-Men Apocalypse. Not as good as Days of Future Past. I would say maybe a little better than First Class. I don't know, a lot was going on. I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that really stands out to me. The Quicksilver scene was great. I'd say probably just as good as Days of Future Past. Maybe a little better because it was a little longer. Overall, it was just okay. What did you think about it?
For me, it felt like the DLC to Days of Future Past. It wasn't its own movie. Apocalypse, a lot of his ideology was just, it's been done before. We've heard it all before. There was no Wolverine, and I was like, well, okay. We got that rehash, redo Weapon X scene that kind of doesn't really go with the original flashback of him just like running out, you know, into the cold by himself with no one to stop him or anything. The worst part about it for me was that the best part of the movie was the very last scene, because like you said, Holden, they look really good with the suits. The suits were all accurate. Mystique was accurate. Scott looked amazing. You know, the Professor looked good there talking with Magneto as always, but it didn't hold any substance for me. Apocalypse was very overpowered, and I get that, and he did showcase his powers and stuff, and we got to see a little origin story, but it felt a lot like The Mummy. It didn't really feel like an X-Men movie.
There were some really good sequences that I like. I'm not that crazy about Sophie Turner being Jean Grey. I'm not that crazy about the kid from Ready Player One being Scott. I am kind of a sucker for those internalizations, like the scene with Apocalypse and Charles fighting in like their mind in the mansion and stuff. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing because I like those internalizations of how people are feeling. Jenna, I know this has been your favorite series we've done so far. So how did you feel about X-Men Apocalypse?
What happened? I will say my favorite part of the movie were the Quicksilver scenes. The music, the way he was like super chill. I really liked those scenes. Much better reference to Charles losing his hair in this movie than the first movie in this series when he was like, next thing you know, I'll be losing my hair. Made more sense than him. Anyway, somehow everyone had the power of flight. Like, their powers seemed to all kind of blend together at the end. I understand that they all had special powers that would help, like, get them from point A to point B, but it all was, like, the same, like, floaty power. I actually liked Apocalypse. Obviously not, you know, like, I wish he would have won. The effects that they did for him for his makeup, I didn't look at him and think about, like, I wonder how long he's spending makeup every day. Like, sometimes I've done with Mystique because to me it looks more like the actor with makeup on than the actual character to me. And I think they did a really good job with that. They did a good job portraying, you know, that he was all powerful. His backstory scenes were a little odd and kind of out of place to me, but I liked his character portrayal. Overall, it was okay. Not as good as Days of Future Past, though.
People criticized me, I guess. Well, I guess a lot of us too when we reviewed First Class, saying we were being like too harsh on it and talking about the suits. But when I look at like Days of Future Past and even this one, I don't know if it's the cinematography, I don't know if it's the score, I don't know if it's the way it was shot. These are just so much better. When I think of First Class, I think of the way Beast looked when he first showed. He looked like just a hairy Teletubby. And now like I'm like, okay, he looks a little better now. And he looked better in the last one. I stand by what I said that First Class does not carry much weight to me. Matt, this has been your favorite movie series that we've watched as well. What did you think of X-Men Apocalypse?
Good joke that you used on Jenna, right on. Okay, so this was horrible. Couldn't stand it. Here's the problem. This movie was, for me, my opinion, was so bad that I really don't have talking points on it. Like, there was nothing memorable. I literally have two things written down. Everyone fears which they do not understand. Love that, fully agree. That was said in Days of Futures Past, but it was sort of echoed again here. Yeah. Love that. Just because there's no war doesn't mean there's peace. Love that. Very introspective and just very good. But overall, it was such the villain itself. I didn't buy into him. I immediately saw a Power Ranger villain. I just could not buy in. He's the first, and in my eyes, how they portrayed him as the first and like the most powerful ever, yet we've never heard of him. It was just so weak.
Even in the movie, he argued that there had been legends of him throughout time, that he was Ra, and he had Elohim, and he was all these people. Not true, obviously, but saying that people had heard of him, but his legend had been kind of changed over time.
That furthers it. When you're the legend, you're like, people have heard of me. They've heard of me. Like, that's even less of how powerful you are in my eyes. So I've never seen Mummy, but that's immediately what Pastor said in the beginning. Like, this is like Mummy 5. But it was just so, I don't know. I don't know. There was just nothing about this movie was super memorable to me.
I would argue that the one scene that is standout is pretty much everything in Poland with Magneto, with his daughter.
Yes, agreed.
You know, and him just wanting to live a normal life, really actively trying to do it the way Charles had said, kind of gave up on this crusade, just wanted to live a normal life, and they just would not let him. Now, granted, Magneto killed a lot of people and was never held, you know, never responsible for those crimes, so he probably should have been punished, you know, but that whole scene with like the bow and arrow, I thought was fantastic, and then using the locket to slaughter all those most people. Like he told Charles, whatever good you saw in me, it's buried now.
I agree, that forest scene, you're right. I found myself predicting what was coming often, and I'm not very intelligent with movies. So I think that that speaks a lot. And I kept finding little pieces, and now these little pieces don't make it a bad movie, but it doesn't help. So we're back in time still right now, right? Storm, why does she have an accent now, and then she lost it later? I don't get it.
That would be a continuity thing. Like Pastor said when we were watching, she should have always had that accent.
Yeah.
But Halle Berry just never did it. I guess they're trying to be more accurate now. It's like they're picking and choosing what they want to be accurate with.
Too late to try to go back and be accurate if you've already established in the first however many movies that Storm doesn't have an accent.
I guess I have empathy for the filmmakers that you want to be true to the comics, but it is kind of confusing because if you didn't have like some friends that are like major nerds about this stuff, you wouldn't know any of that. So like I wouldn't have any context. If I watched this by myself, I'd be like, oh, okay, now she's got an accent. Okay.
I agree with you 100%. It's very confusing for audience like you, Matt, that you're not a big X-Men fan. You're watching these movies for other reasons, not because you've been waiting 10 years to see your favorite characters come to life on the screen. As filmmakers, in my opinion, I think they go through a struggle where they're like, there's different kinds of fan service. There's the fan service where you go in going, I'm gonna just go with the source material and make the movie about that and give everyone as many Easter eggs and as many nods as I can. Or you go from the fan perspective that you're a filmmaker who loves the X-Men so much that you want to give the fan service in reflection of your fandom for what you're doing. From that angle, I get it, but they kind of wanted to merge too much into it.
I think another problem that they're having is there are so many X-Men in the comics, so many that everybody wants to see. They want to see Bishop, they want to see, whoever. And it makes it hard to like establish a central group of characters that we're supposed to care about. In the original X-Men trilogy, it was, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Wolverine, Professor X. Those are like our central characters. But because we keep changing that, Alex Summers, right? I think having him, because he was in First Class, he was in Days of Future Past, and he died in this one. And we don't really care because we had no time with him. So I think that that's the biggest fault of these movies. They are trying to do fan service because they want to show Psylocke, they want to show these other characters, but we just don't care. I would rate this movie probably like a 6.5. I thought it was okay. I had some good scenes. The Quicksilver scene is really a redemption scene in my opinion because it was so good, but overall, not one of my favorites. Pastor, what about you?
Similar to the last one, I think in Days of Future Past, you gave it like 0.5% or a score less than me. I would give this one about a 6. Weak 6 maybe even, just because it did just feel like a filler movie. It didn't feel like something that I was waiting for to watch. It just felt like, oh, they're coming out with another one. Okay, sure, I'll watch it. It was fine. It just did not have the substance that I was anticipating because Apocalypse is huge.
Jenna, like I said, it's your favorite series so far. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. What would you rate X-Men Apocalypse?
10. 5.5. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. Really, the only thing I liked about the first X-Men trilogy is really them attacking the social issues, and I feel like that kind of fell off in this movie as well. That's what I really enjoyed about Days of Future Past. It fell off this movie, otherwise it would have been rated maybe a smidge higher.
And Matt, what about you? What would you rate this movie?
This is where you give a number.
Well, I was trying. 4.5. Just not very memorable, and it's tough for me to even make notes about it. And, they didn't make me feel it, at least, if there was much of a social message about it. That wasn't there, and just such an introduction of all these characters. And then Angel, that guy dying, it's just like, okay. It's just, 4.5.
That's it for this video. Next week will be X-Men Dark Phoenix. We have a lot to talk about that one, just in the making of it and the reception of it, because a lot changed with that, because that's when Fox and Marvel, that's when that merger was happening. So the way we're going to get into Logan, because I know a lot of people are wondering, because we accidentally skipped X-Men Origins Wolverine, we're going to do X-Men Origins, we're going to do the Wolverine, and then we're going to do Logan, kind of treat it like its own trilogy. I think is the best way to do it at this point. Next week will be Dark Phoenix, and then we'll get into the Logan stuff. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, helps my channel out a lot. Comment down below letting us know what you think of all of our opinions. Subscribe if you want to see more fun content like this. Consider joining me on Patreon. It's a great way to get early access to select videos like this. Make sure to subscribe to everybody here. Their links will be in the description below as well. As always, we appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next My Friend Watches. Take care.